Welcome, everyone, to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. And tonight, we're going to talk about Tencent, everybody's favorite Chinese company. You know, the largest company in China posted their first ever revenue loss earlier this year and laid off 5% of their staff, and then decided that it was time to clean house at Fanbyte recently. Wow is all I have to say for a company that posted, like, even with losing revenue for the first time in history, making $88 billion in revenue. And I think I'd read somewhere before that 35 billion of that was profit. You have to lose 5% of your staff, basically 5,000 people, and then go clean house at Fanbyte. That is horrible. From what I was kind of reading is that they even did it the jerkish way, where they laid off people one by one, where the managers were contacting them and bringing them in their office and letting them go, or making phone calls or whatever they're doing if most people are remote, and just being all around jerks, you know. Sounds pretty typical. You know, they're just going to show you that they are still truly a corporation, even though they're investing in video games and things of enjoyment. They're sucking the life out of all that things of enjoyment. I don't know what to say. I mean, this company they're large, and to basically say we need to cut down 5% of our staff and then basically get rid of almost all the staff of Fanbytes is pretty rough. It kind of just shows you that maybe you shouldn't trust this company, the largest company in China. And they're just investing in everything, and everything that's got the word video game in it, they're throwing a little money in it, you know, trying to invest and basically grow. They basically, from what I understood, their layoffs included the site's editor-in-chief, head of media, features editor, social editor, news editor, graphic designer, podcast producers, and a whole bunch of writers. TechCrunch is the one that kind of broke this article and put out a bunch of stuff for everybody. Wow is all I have to say. Employees being laid off one by one over the course of several hours. I've been in companies that have done that, and it is a horrible thing to just sit at your desk and watch people get marched out one by one, wondering, am I next? You know, it's just a horrible situation to be in, and especially for a company so large. How do you do that to people? You know, I mean, companies go through bad times, yes, but you're still making $35 billion a year, and you laid off 5% of your staff and then go take the axe to your news media site. How is that not showing that you are a heartless corporation right there? 35 billion in net income, laid off basically almost every member. You basically laid off like 5,000 employees, what I read. 5% was like 5,000. That's a lot. Wow. Show that you don't care without saying you don't care. This is it right here. Tencent. That's Tencent for you guys. Fanbyte people, I wish you luck in finding additional work in the field of your study, in this field, unless you're just done with it. And I hope you find something that is fulfilling to you. And I hope that it's much better than the way Tencent treated you. The other companies are paying you more. I hope that all works out for you, because the tech industry is still pretty hot right now with hiring people. Video game industry is proving to be pretty recession proof. And so hopefully that will bode well for you. But shame on Tencent. Shane, what do you think about this massive corporation deciding that 35 billion is just not enough to keep going?
Well, yeah, I mean, shit, you know, they're getting welfare, right? I mean, that's just, you can't live on that. I mean,
they're getting that baby formula and government cheese.
Damn right. And they deserve it. You know, they try hard. Jesus Christ. You know, it's, I'm very distraught when I know that they could have kept that company on, gave them another year to try to turn things around if they felt they weren't, hitting their goals. But they're firing, and you know, I don't know for sure because the article doesn't give me a definition of what departments or heads or anything like that. But I guarantee it's not the bigwigs getting let go, the ones who are running the disaster. It's the everyday employee, the guy who writes and proofreads articles, or researchers, things like that. These situations, the chopping block should always start at the top. Look at the top. Are they the ones actually letting you down? Free market, I'm a firm believer, but when you make $35 billion a year, I'm pretty sure you can give people a chance. Granted, there are some crappy employees out there, so some people should be fired. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, the way they were doing it, I agree with Pat. It's like watching a firing squad, literally, and waiting. All right, here comes the security guard. Oh, no, he walked by me. Until he grabs you by the arm and says, Mr. Johnson wants to talk to you. Damn it. If that happens to me, as soon as I walk in that office, I'm dropping trout and leaving a deuce on the desk. You know what? They ain't firing me. I'm going out my own way. That's ridiculous. But $35 billion, it's like, man, you ask, they're not you said they're a greedy company. That's beyond greed, because they make $35 billion. I mean, that's ridiculous amounts of money. And they're buying up everything. Like you said, especially in the game industry. I mean, wasn't it Elden Ring they bought a portion of stake in, and Sony, or was it, I can't remember. I believe it was Tencent.
Bought a lot of stake in a lot of companies here recently.
Yeah, I believe they bought a big chunk of Elden Ring Studios. So it's like, you got that kind of money. Just be better. Just quit crapping on people. It's like, I know you want to make more money. You got shareholders and all that. Right? Your shareholders can suck butts, because that's $35 billion. They're making plenty of money. Doesn't need to be making more. Try being more humanitarian. Take care of the people that do work for you, because without the people that work for you, you ain't going to make that $35 billion. And I think any company that's owned by Tencent, those employees should look at this and be very scared. One bad quarter, one bad year, you're gone. I mean, life happens, but shit. I'm not a big finance guy. I just know bull crap when I say it. If Tesla fires 1,000 people because they sold, they didn't quite hit their mark. They missed their goal by one car, and they fined 1,000 people. That's ridiculous. It's bull crap. Companies this large, and there are many companies now that are becoming this large, they shouldn't be able to do that. It's just BS. But this is also one of those topics where it's like, where's the free market stop and where's the humanity start? There's a balance.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it just seems insane that, that this could happen. And what's really funny is in the TechCrunch article, they fired like the social media person. And guess what they forgot to do? Get the credentials to the social media account. So guess what they had on their Twitter page? A nice little message that said, forgot the keys, ? And then a blurb that said Tencent made $35 billion in net income last year and laid off almost every member of the child company Fanbyte. So yeah, I don't recommend you do what they did, because I'm pretty sure depending on what country that's in, there are certain laws that could get you in some serious trouble for that. But I would say more power to them. Tencent's just being a big bully with these people, and hopefully, I kind of want to know what it is. Did they just basically pull them in and fire them, or did they give them severance packages? For people to pull some of this stuff and list what they did, I bet there's no severance packages. It's all just they fired them all on the spot with no notice, no anything, and said, go wait in the cheese line because we got nothing for you, even though they have $35 billion that they made last year. It's corporations like this that basically prove people right when they talk about greedy people at the top. Your shareholders, just like Shane said, so what? You're going to pay back some shareholders, or you're going to create dividends for some shareholders, but you're also going to put 5,000 plus people out on the street. Basically, you just get rid of 5,000 people's livelihoods at the drop of a hat because you lost some revenue last year. But you lost a little bit of revenue, but you made way more than you lost. Is how I look at this. I don't get this. It's not like they lost revenue, right? They just had a decline in revenue. They still made $35 billion.
Yeah, they didn't go in the red or anything like that.
They made $88 billion, but out of that $88 billion, 35 was net. So they had a decline in revenue, but it wasn't like it's insane to think about this. I mean, I couldn't find what percentage of decline they had. It just said the first revenue decline ever last quarter. But did they lose enough revenue to where they thought laying off 5,000 people, and then because that roughly 5,000 people includes, the 5%, and I think there's a little bit more if you include the Fanbyte staff. Did you really make up enough to cover that? Do you think you do? I mean, I don't. I think you just made some bad investments because you're just spending money like it's water. But that's them. They're going to be the next global corporation out there that just takes a shit everywhere they go on people and their livelihood. They're based out of China, so probably not a whole lot of stuff those people can do. And I don't know where the Fanbyte staff was mostly located out of, if they're out of China or if they're out of like just other countries. So shame on you, Tencent. And this should show people why they want to stay away from a company like that. Little jump, a little blip in their revenue, one quarter, and they decide the sky is falling, lay off 5% of the people. You know what this kind of reminds me of? Do you ever watch Fifth Element, where the bad guys, they're like, hey, we had a little bit of the economy's slowing down, and he's like, get rid of some people in the cab company, and he says this number and he tells them to up it. That's what this reminds me of. Yeah. They're the evil guy in the world right now, because they don't care about their employees.
Yep, they're the Gary Oldmans.
Yeah.
No, the Fanbyte was based in LA from what I could find. So, good luck to those guys, really, because, the market's, right now, I don't know how it would be for, that type of organization, those people to find jobs. And I know LA, you got to have money to live there. You don't really have much of a savings if you want to live there. So, but good luck to them. And 10 cent, I got 2 cents for you. So that's just me.
I've got no money for them. And if they want to, they can't even have 2 cents from me. It kind of worries me when a company like this is just expanding globally, and then for the spending money with disregard, and they're like, oh, we had a quarter drop in profit.
Almost every week there's an article where they're buying some.
Yep. Yeah. So they're buying a whole bunch of crap, and then they had their first ever drop in revenue, and they lost their freaking mind.
I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that at home. Honey, we spent a little more than we should have. You have to go.
They want to fire 500,000. They said, nah, fire 1 million. No. Lose their freaking mind is what they did. That's what they did. Lost their freaking mind.
Yeah, I lost a dime. Got to, ruin 1,000 people's lives.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd like to, I didn't, like I said, I didn't do enough research to see what the percentage of revenue loss in the last quarter was, but to have your first ever just be one of those things where you lose your mind and start just going at the chopping block seems to be pretty short-sighted. It's short-sighted to everybody outside. I don't know what their whole thing is. I don't know if Fanbyte was profitable or not, but you just don't do it that way. You just don't go in and gut a company and butcher it that way. If you need to get rid of it and restructure it, that's one thing. But you come in and you do it right? You sit down, you bring in the people that are going to do the restructure, and you bring in the people that are not going to be around, and you take care of them. You're like, hey, this is unfortunate. We got to do this. Here's some severance. And I don't know if this happened or not. Nobody that I saw on the Twitter feeds or the Reddit stuff is talking about this. So it kind of lends me to believe that there's no severance, or if there is, it's like, here's a week's pay. Get the hell out of here. It's probably more like they brought them into the office, said, see ya, and kicked their ass on the way out the door, but I don't know. But if they want to do it right, they should have done some type of severance package for all these people that they're getting rid of, because they're laying them off in a sense. It's really not firing. They're if they are firing them, but it's because the company's not making any money. It's no fault of probably the majority of the people that are being let go. But I don't know. Maybe the news article is going to come out with gross negligence at Fanbyte, where people were just having ragers in the office or something, and half the people were drunk on the table all the time. I don't know. But until I see something like that and proof of that, I'm not going to believe it. I'm going to believe that Tencent's just a big jerk. So, Shane, you got any other comments for Tencent that may not even be worth 2 cents before we cut this one out?
None that I can put on air.
All right. Let us know down in the comments what you think about this. Did you work at Fanbytes? Did they offer you a severance package? Because that's kind of what I want to know. And if they did, was it anything worthwhile? Or did they just give you enough to round out the end of the week or something, or, it was the end of the week over here. So, do they just tell you it's Friday, 4:00 or Thursday at 4:00, 4:30, get the hell out the door and don't come back. And like I said, we wish you everybody that got let go, that you find something that's more fulfilling in your life than this. Or maybe you got a severance package and you can take a little hiatus and rest and relax and recuperate before you find your next venture. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't. So I hope to catch you in the next episode.
See ya.